Hi, this is Joe again with another review. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be discussing the news special that aired the other night, which is the second ever live in front of a studio audience, which ABC, earlier in the spring, like in May, this past May of 2019, they aired a live broadcast of an episode of All in the Family and the Jeffersons. As I previously reviewed, it's up on YouTube, so please check it out. And because the ratings did fairly well, I think got about like 15 million people tuned in or something like that. So I figured, okay, the ratings were good enough. Let's do it. Let's do it a second time. And they picked an episode of Good Times and an episode of All in the Family, which on the day of doing this video, Get TV, which is like one of those over-the-air, low-end channels, is actually going to broadcast the actual original episodes that they did in the live broadcast. Of course, which I think it was like totally unnecessary now to do a live of the show, because this thing aired this past Wednesday on the night where Donald Trump got impeached. So they were constantly breaking in, and I'm glad the live actors didn't go off script and make references. Yay! Thank God Trump got impeached. Thank God he got impeached. He got impeached. And thank God they didn't have any of that crap. But they had a reference to it in the beginning. Jimmy Kimmel made reference to it. They were probably going to break in for the impeachment vote. We might have to, but if and when the vote comes down, we're going to have to break in for that. But right now, we're going to broadcast the live broadcast of this thing. So they did that, and the episode, and they aired the Good Times episode first. Now, I should mention that the actors only one actor actually liked in this thing, and actually technically two, which I'm going to mention in a second. There's Andre Braugher, who of course used to be on Homicide: Life on the Street, and of course in movies like Glory. He was a damn good actor, and I like him. And so he played James. He played the father. He played the James Olmos role in Good Times. And you have Viola Davis. He played the wife, Florida. Of course, you did have James Amos, or Amos, whatever you pronounce it. John Amos, actually coming back after more than 40 years being off that show. Came back and played one of the main characters in that, not from the family, but the center part of that plot. And the plot is that the family was divided because half the family was voting for the old-time candidate, which was John Amos plays in the live broadcast version. The candidate or the local alderman, because in Chicago, instead of city councilman, you have aldermans in Chicago, and he had got the Evans family into the ghetto building that they live in. So James Evans, played by Andre Braugher in late production, was supportive of the guy because it wasn't for him, everyone getting into the building. And Florida and most of the family, except for JJ, was supporting the younger, better-looking candidate with the Muslim when he got elected. Oh, we want to have a good-looking guy instead of the old-tired guy there, John McCain there. So that's what was going on in the episode. And after the episode aired, they introduced Jimmy Walker. They introduced a couple, two other people who were still alive. Of course, you had John Amos there. So you had kind of like a little mini reunion. Of course, Esther Rowe, who played Florida Evans, passed away some years ago. So you had some people who were still alive from that show from Good Times on there. Of course, now the Archie Bunker episode, or the All in the Family episode, was very timely because it was a Christmas episode. And usually the Christmas episodes are All in the Family, plus as well as Archie Bunker's Place, were, I felt, some of the better episodes of that series. And they didn't have one like every single year, like maybe like shows like Home Improvement had, shows that came like after All in the Family, like Home Improvement, or maybe shows like Happy Days or whatever. The Simpsons had Christmas episodes after that, or more, or should I say more than one. I like the Brady Bunch, which only had one episode. But I'm getting off topic. The episode that I picked for All in the Family was I felt one of the best and most dramatic episodes of that series, which is the Draft Dodger episode. Now, those of you who are not familiar with this aired on Christmas, I think either Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, 1976. It was like about slightly more than a year and some months after the Vietnam War officially ended. So it was pretty dramatic and pretty timely when this episode aired. And the Draft Dodger was an old friend of Mike's who came to visit him, and Edith invited him to, Edith and Mike together with Uncle Gloria, invited him to stay for Christmas dinner. So Noah come and post, no, I want you guys to stay, and I want you to be here. I said, fine. I said, is there any problem? Is there going to be a problem with staying here? I said, yeah, well, maybe my father-in-law, because is very conservative. Like such an evil thing that he was a conservative. It wasn't so much of an evil thing back in the 70s like it is now, you know. But he said, oh, it's such an evil thing that he's a conservative in his thinking. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Not really, but I'm going on a tangent. So the guy stayed there, and Archie, of course, asking him questions. I should mention that the Archie Bunker episode, once again, the whole cast who was there previously, you had Marissa Tomei playing Edith, you had Willie Harrison playing Archie, and you had the same two actors who played Mike and Gloria together again in this episode. Of course, they had episodes, they had Kevin Bacon playing Pinky Peterson, which I'm going to mention him in a second. I forgot. I think the actor who actually played David, the Draft Dodger, I think he may have played Skippy on Family Ties, because he looks like the actor who played Skippy on the Family Ties show. Plays the Draft Dodger. Now, of course, Archie kept peppering him with questions. Oh, where you from? So, I'm from Chicago, but I currently live in Canada. So, oh, what are you doing in Canada? And of course, Gloria and Mike are trying to prevent Archie from asking him questions. Where he's from, what does he do, why does he live in Canada, yada yada yada. And they keep stopping Archie from asking him these questions, because eventually they're worried that Archie was going to find out that he's actually living in Canada because he was a draft dodger, and if he lives in Canada, he doesn't get extradited in the United States to be prosecuted for being a draft dodger. That's why he was living in Canada, because the laws were back then. And because a lot of people who were drafted moved to Canada or moved out of the country because of they knew going to be into the draft, and they were draft dodgers, and they were going to be prosecuted and detained in prison for it. So this guy David went to Canada to avoid all that. So he finds out that his family still doesn't want anything to do with him because he was a draft dodger and moved to Canada. So he was moved. Archie kept peppering him with questions, and his Pinky Peterson character, who was a recurring character, I think he was in a total of maybe 3 or 4 episodes in the series, and he was a friend of Archie's, who always played practical jokes on Archie from time to time. And if you see the episode, the 4, I think it was like 4 episodes total, he keep pulling practical jokes on Archie all the time. And of course, this one, it wasn't so much practical jokes, so much this time. This time, Archie wanted to put a joke on him with a fake Santa with a squished water out at him, and Pinky turned him out on Archie, and Archie got squirted with the water. So they want to know what was going on, and so we always pull pranks on each other. They said, there's something that goes on between Archie and I. And the thing was with Pinky is that his son was killed in Vietnam. So you had a guy who lost his son in Vietnam having Christmas dinner with a guy who dodged the draft and moved to Canada, so they weren't fighting the Vietnam War. They were pretty much like a coward, because he didn't want to kill anybody, and he didn't want to go to war. Before the war was banned, all that stuff. So you had that dynamic going on between these two characters, which was an interesting dynamic. And so when Archie does find out that David was a draft, David told him, "Hey, I'm a draft dodger," and he goes, "You're what?" And then Archie goes berserk and blasting him because he's calling him a traitor. And he says, and of course, Mike tries to tell him to cool it. And hey, this is not the 4th of July, it's Christmas. Put away the flag. And he said, hey, meathead, if the FBI finds out that he's in here, we could all be having Christmas dinner in a hoose cow, or in jail. Which is true. I mean, if the FBI did find out that David was there, and they know that he was a draft dodger, they could all be arrested for harboring a fugitive. Which is true, which is a legit point. And Mike says, "Oh no, that's not possible. How can you say that? How can you do that?" And Mike, Rob Reiner, in reality, is a very, very liberal guy, and it's like life imitating, real life imitating art, with him being a liberal. I mean, he wasn't faking all that stuff when Rob Reiner was on that show, and so Archie bashed him for that shit, and rightly so. I said, "Hey, I want him out of here, and I want no draft dodger in my house." And Pinky says, "Can you say something, Archie?" "Sure." And so of course you have more right to say anything. You're a gold star father. And says, "Look, my son hated the war too, but he went because he thought that's what he had to do, and David here did what he had to do. So I'd be honored to have Christmas dinner with him." And that's how they sell it. And Archie at first didn't want, to eat dinner anymore, because he didn't want to eat dinner with a draft dodger, because he felt he's a traitor to his country, and he should be in jail for betraying his country and being a traitor. And so he says, of course Mike says, "Why are you ever going to admit the war was wrong?" And of course Archie ran into his man and said, "I don't want to talk about that war. I don't want to talk about that lousy damn war no more." And he says, "What, David, no matter what I feel about the war, no matter what you feel about the war, it doesn't matter. The point is that what David did, because naturally nobody wants to go to war. Who the hell wants to go to war? They don't want to get killed. Which is true. And the only people who are not worried about going to war is the Congress, because the congressmen are not going to worry because they're going to go to war, because they're not going to get killed. But the young guys like David, he's going to go shoot right over there and have the possibility of being killed, because they're the ones that get shipped out. The congressmen, they're not going to get shipped out to war. These guys will, or the young guys who are eligible for the draft, they're the ones who are going to get shipped. And as much as of a conservative Archie Bunker is supposed to be, he was dead right in that speech. Because the congressmen are not going to go to war, because nobody wants to go to war because of the possibility of getting killed. I mean, which is true. I mean, as much as you want to blast Archie Bunker for being conservative and stuff, he was right in that speech. But that was the episode that they aired, and I felt that it was completely flat. I mean, the thing is that these two episodes, they don't add anything new to what the original episodes were. They just didn't. And while getting back to the production, they're not ending anything. I think there was when they did it the first time, that's what they should have ended. What are they going to do next? They're going to do One Day at a Time next, or an episode of Maude, because it was also produced by Norman Lear. So what are they going to do? Produce those shows? Do episodes of those shows next? I mean, come on, when is it end? And I like Marissa Tomei. I'm a fan of hers, but she's trying to do an impersonation of Jean Stapleton, trying to get her voice down right. But the problem is that she can't. She doesn't. When she runs to the door, she goes like this. She runs like this slow. Instead of going zing, like that. She goes, you're like a 90-year-old woman trying to walk down the street. She was doing it that slow instead of going zing, faster. Because Jean Stapleton, I don't know how old Jean Stapleton was when she did that series, but she ran like crazy. And let me tell you, Jean Stapleton then, and Marissa Tomei now, Jean Stapleton could beat her and track the way how slow Marissa Tomei was going. I mean, a snail could run faster than Marissa Tomei. Okay, so that's what. But I thought that Marissa Tomei did a good job of trying to do that, but I felt that was just a waste of time and a waste of putting this thing on. So let me review of the second live from a studio audience show with All in the Family and Good Times. Please click on the video, please rate it. Please subscribe to my channel. Please forward this video to your Facebook pages. You can check out all my reviews on my YouTube channel at rallyc.com, so WDY, and that's C.com. That's the homepage of the Rally Reviewer, Christine Moore, and please check out all of his videos on his website. Thanks for watching, and catch you next time.